As an industry, we work ridiculously long hours, stress out, and carry too much weight on our shoulders. Turns out, that isn't healthy. Who knew? At the Drum's annual Do It Day, industry support organisation NABS and mental health charity Mind jointly conducted research that found that 64% of people working in the industry have considered leaving due to poor workplace well-being. That is nearly 2/3 of the industry.
We really need to make it okay for people to say that they're not feeling okay. I think in the past people have felt very worried. If you say that you're struggling, will that impact on your career? Will there be negative consequences and so on? So I think that's been a barrier to people being open about these issues. Whenever we speak to people about why they experience stress in the workplace or poor mental health, they generally tell us that it's issues with management, and that can be their direct line manager or senior management. It's also about long hours, unreasonable expectations and job insecurity. So all of that can drive issues in the workplace. I think it's really about employers setting their stall out with their employees and explaining that this is how we're going to support you to stay well, this is how we respond if you are struggling. So it really creates that culture where people feel okay to be open.
Some of it goes beyond the responsibility of the industry. I think there's some social factors and so on that need to be addressed as a society. I think specifically for the industry, I think we can do quite a lot to improve the well-being of our talented workforce. We need to bring the conversation of mental health to the forefront and make sure that well-being is at the top of the agenda. Make it part of our diversity and inclusion, make it part of that and really embed it. We need to practically, I think on a day-to-day, make sure that our line managers are trained and equipped to be able to deal with mental health and make sure that their teams are fully supported.
The first step to addressing the problem is talking about it. However, 46% of people surveyed said they felt uncomfortable talking to their line manager about mental health related issues. So if half of the industry doesn't know who to talk to, how can we address the problem?
For me, what needs to change in workplaces is that employers really understand that looking after the mental health of their staff is a key priority for them, but they need to make a very positive culture around that to encourage people to speak up when they're struggling. Once you say something in the workplace, you can't unsay it. And equally, when does pressure become stress? When does stress become something more? So there's been all these additional barriers to people seeking help. And we know if people can seek help sooner, they can hopefully get the support they need before problems can spiral.
What we've really seen through some of our data is that line managers need to be trained and equipped on how to deal with mental health. If an employee is going to disclose to their manager that they're suffering with a condition, whether it's anxiety, depression, then a manager needs to know what they should be doing to support that individual. There's some legal requirements that they need to do, and also there's some, I suppose, just good practice support that they can offer their staff. Individuals don't necessarily want to talk to their line manager immediately, or they might want to go straight to HR. So mental health first aiders are another way of training up staff, that staff then know that they can go to speak to someone who's specialist in this area, and that is a nice way of having a conversation about their mental health before perhaps the individual wants to take it to the next step.
I speak to people in the advertising industry on a daily basis, and reading the report was concerning. While some agencies have started taking action by providing exercise classes and mindfulness sessions, 60% of people have said that work has had a negative impact on their well-being in the last year. I was intrigued to hear what people thought.
Wow, that's a really shockingly high number, isn't it? And it just goes to show that maybe the old agency way of thinking of like we work really hard in this industry, but we play really hard, so that balances things out, is just old hat, and it's not the case anymore. And we need to get into those numbers and find out what support people really need.
Yeah, I probably agree with that in some perspective. In this industry, it's such a tense industry and you're working to deadlines, but there are things in place or coming into place that kind of help you unwind from that as well.
Really? Only 60%? I would have thought it would have been higher, given how much work takes up your life compared to exercise and other things.
Wow. I mean, I guess some agencies that I've experienced can be extremely high pressure, so I suppose that could be where it comes from, but I wouldn't have said it was that high. That seems frighteningly high. I imagine that would be the banking industry, not the marketing industry.
I wish that I was surprised by that, but I'm not. I think that we're putting more and more pressure on people, and it's magnifying every year.
Mental health is not a new problem, and as a generation we've finally started having a conversation about it. It's something that can and will affect each and every one of us in one way or another. We have to be prepared to tackle the stigmas, seek the help required, and speak out about the problems we face.